When the real estate market is slow, sellers are not having such a good time. That is especially evident when we look at downtown Vancouver. Historically speaking, it's a very active market with a lot of buying and selling activity going on. It is also a very popular market for investors. However, the last few years have not been so kind to this market, and especially right now, a lot of sellers are struggling. So in today's video, we will take a very detailed look at the market. We'll look at some graphs and at some concrete examples of exactly what's going on. First, let's look at the average sales price of one-bedroom condo in downtown Vancouver over the last year. As you can see, this graph is going down. It is a little bit more dramatic here than it actually is in real life. However, you can see that the prices are on a downward trend. Now, this graph gets a little bit more dramatic when we look at the 3-year graph. As you can see, the prices have sort of peaked in November 2022, as well as December and October, and since then they have been kind of on a downward trajectory. And this graph gets even worse when we open it up to 5 years. You can see that the prices sort of skyrocketed here in about 2021, 2022. That was the sort of after COVID effect, the effect of low interest rates. And from the end of 2022 until now, the prices have been on a downward trajectory. And once again, if you look at the 10-year graph, this becomes even more dramatic. We can see a couple of humps here, 2018 and 2022 once again. And since then, the prices have been going down. So if you look at the prices right now, on average, they're about the same as what we saw in about September 2021, also about July 2019, and also about January 2018. If you bought during these peaks, well, you're not having such a good time. And unfortunately, a lot of people bought during those times because that's actually when the market is the most active. That's when you have the most activity. And a lot of people have that fear of losing out and they rush into the market. And there are a couple of other graphs that I want to take a look at. First one is price per square foot. So if you look at the average price per square foot, you can see that the graph kind of represents exactly what we saw in terms of the pricing. So the two go hand in hand. If we also look at the graph of total inventory, this is very interesting because it shows you how the inventory goes up as the market sort of slows down. And that's exactly what we see here. If we zoom in a little bit and look at the last 3 years, we can definitely see this drastic increase in the inventory. A lot of investors are looking to liquidate their investments. So that is part of this graph. But the other part is higher interest rates, just even for regular owners. Maybe they can't afford, or maybe they want to upsize. And if they can't sell quickly enough, the property stays on the market for longer, which lets more properties enter the market. And this creates this sort of effect of accumulated inventory. Now you're competing with more listings, which slows down the market even more. It is sort of a cycle that's difficult to break. There are a couple of more graphs that I want to take a look at here. One is the total sales volume. As you can see, that's kind of the opposite. The sales are going down and the total inventory is going up. Again, not a great story. It's sort of a perfect blend to have very slow sales and decreasing prices. And the last thing, let's take a look at the sales to active listings ratio. Again, you can see this ratio going down. And the sales to active listings ratio is kind of the perfect graph to take a look at to represent what's actually going on in the market. This graph tells us out of 100 properties currently listed, how many actually get sold. This graph also perfectly illustrates the buyer psychology. As the prices were going up and we reached sort of the peaks in 2022, we also see the peaks of sales to active listings ratio numbers. That's when the most buyers were entering the market. Now, as the prices started going down, that's when you see the least amount of buyers entering the market. Nobody wants to buy when the prices are going down. But I would argue that it actually makes more sense to buy when the market is slower than when the market is really increasing. As you can see, the market is very cyclical. And right now we are on that downward trend where you have a lot of listings, not as many sales, and you have a lot more options. Now, I want to highlight some concrete examples of sellers that are not having such a good time. A couple of disclaimers here. Number one, these are not my listings. I am not marketing these listings in any way. I don't know the sellers of these listings. I'm not trying to tell you to buy or not buy these listings. It's just here as sort of an example. So there's one condo here that's a 1-bedroom condo, pretty small. It's almost like a studio unit, listed at $500,000. However, if you look at the information here at the bottom, price and sales history, in 2019, the seller bought this condo for $558,000. So in about 6 years, not only did they not make any money, they're losing about $60,000 plus the property transfer fee, plus the real estate commissions. Not a very good situation to be in. We have another condo here. This one is a little bit larger, kind of a typical 1-bedroom condo, listed right now at $640,000. However, the seller bought in 2018, so even longer ago, about 7 years ago almost, for $700,000. Again, losing $60,000 plus, which not a great situation to be in. There's this other condo listed at $1.6 million. This one is a bit more upscale. It's a 2-bedroom unit with 2 bathrooms. And if you look at the sales history, all the information I'm highlighting in this video is absolutely public. This is not any proprietary or secret information. You can just sort of access it yourself and see all the sales history, etc. online. So you can see that the seller bought this unit in 2021 for $1.84 million, and now it's selling for $1.588. So they're losing quite a bit of money, almost $300,000 if you include the property transfer tax and the real estate commissions. Lastly, this one is kind of the luxury unit. It's listed at $3.5 million. It's a 3-bedroom unit. That's a beautiful unit on the 36th floor, 1,600 square feet. The seller bought this unit for $3.92 million in 2022. So now they're losing quite a bit of money, almost $500,000. So you can see how the prices have really changed in the last sort of few years. And these are examples that I cherry picked. Of course, not every example is as dramatic as this, but I think this kind of gives you a pretty good idea of what's going on in a market and how drastic these price fluctuations can be, and how a lot of people are really not having a good time selling real estate right now. So what can we learn from this video? What are the takeaways? Number one, a lot of times you just get unlucky. You can do all the things correctly. You can be buying for long term. Some of these people bought, for 6-7 years. And as you can see on the graph here, the market is very cyclical. So it doesn't mean that in 7 years, the property will absolutely go up in price no matter what. The next lesson we can learn from all of this is that if you buy your primary property and you plan for the market going down, in other words, you plan not to have to sell the property in the nearby future, even, 5-6 years down the line, you'll be okay, because of course you only realize the losses on real estate when you do actually sell. Right now, people that are not selling the condos, of course, their condos are worth less, but they're not really realizing those losses. And in the future, the market will rebound, as we can see from various graphs here. Over the years, it does go up and down, but generally speaking, it will rebound and the prices will go back up. So if you can sort of wait out the storm, you'll be in a pretty good situation. The last thing I want to highlight is that buying into real estate can be risky. A lot of people just assume when you buy a real estate, when you buy a condo, it will automatically go up no matter what, like clockwork. And of course, that's not the case. It is an investment. It is sort of an asset that is volatile to the market conditions, to the interest rates, to many other factors, and it can go down in price. So as long as you sort of keep that in the back of your mind, when you do end up buying, it's a lot easier. If you just kind of accept the fact that it can actually go down in price, but it also can go up in price. And as I mentioned, the first point, a lot of these things are out of your control. You can do all the things correctly, and the market just throws a curveball in your way. I appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this, and let me know what other parts of Metro Vancouver market you want me to review, to take a look at. Do you want me to look at the Metrotown, Brentwood, Coquitlam, detached, attached? This video was kind of interesting to make. Leave your comments below. I'll take a look and try to make more videos like this in the future. And if you're looking to buy your first property but you just don't know where to start, I have an absolutely free buyer's guide. The link to that will be in the description below. You don't need to sign up for anything. It's just a tool to help you get started and to help you understand how the process works. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.